Oh, hey, how are you doing? I think you are new here. Haven't you visited here yet? By the way, welcome to Eric Electrician Shop, a store where here if you couldn't find your lover, but at least you can find and buy a perfect processor. Anyways, just kidding around. So, let me show you our newest appliances which were currently released. Yeah, anyways, sorry about that. Yellow?
Hello, hello, hello. Is anyone on the other side?
Yes, hi.
Oh, hi. My name is Mary Rhondina. I just want to ask if you can rebuild and renew my old and dusty CPU.
Howdy. Yes, sure I can, Miss Rhondina. So, what are the current issues that you have been encountered at the time you feel something about your CPU?
Well, as you see, I feel something suspicious on my computer. Sometimes when I'm on my online meetings and online classes, it suddenly crashes. And it takes an eternity to get back, and that affects my online class. Could you tell me, please, what we can do about my computer to get it back to normal?
I see. Hmm. Give me a second to search your computer, Miss Rondina.
One eternity later.
So, yes, as what I see, the main issue here is your CPU, Miss Rondina. I found out that your CPU needs to be changed, and if you want to have a better experience with it, I would highly recommend to change your damaged capacitor, which the older one gives a raise of lag and slow function on your CPU.
Could you please guide me on what should I do about it?
My pleasure and my duty, Miss Rondina. Now, as what you can see at the screen, this is how the capacitor looks like. It has a battery-like shape which also has the same beauty as what the battery works. If you didn't know, the capacitor only stores up an electrical charge through the direct current voltage, which also it is the one who supplies a voltage itself. Now the main purpose of the capacitor is to regulate and to fix its own DC outputs. Now the problem here, Miss Rondina, there is a damaged capacitor inside the CPU and the power supply unit. The capacitor still, it will be able to replace the same value and specs of the defect capacitor. But I still suggest to buy a new unit to avoid repeating problems on your computer.
Hello, Capacitor. How may I help you?
Howdy, Mr. Cyril. I would like to ask for a capacity.
Yes, we do have lots of capacitors here. There are several types of capacitors and each of those has its function. First, electrolytic capacitor. Generally, the electrolyte capacitors are used when large capacitors values are required. The thin metal film layer is used for one electrode, and for the second electrode cathode, a semi-liquid electrolyte solution which is in jelly or paste is used. Second, mica capacitor. This capacitor is a group of natural minerals, and the sulfur mica capacitors use the dielectric. Third, paper capacitor. The construction of paper capacitor is between the two thin film sheet and they are separated from the paper or oiled paper and thin wax. Fourth, film capacitor. The film capacitors are also capacitors and they use a thin plastic as the dielectric. Fifth, non-polarized capacitors. The non-polarized capacitors are classified into two types, plastic foil capacitors and the other one is the electrolytic non-polarized capacitor. These are the semi-essential to be used during the process. These are other types of capacitors along the line of ceramic capacitor, multi-layer ceramic capacitor. So what do you want?
I only want to ask for a capacitor for the computer, Mr. Cyril.
Oh, so why haven't you mentioned it earlier?
Yes, I did. But you...
One supercapacitor for the computer coming right up.
Oh dear. Mr. Cyril is a zestful person.
One eternity later.
Howdy, Miss Rhondina. Your computer is set and ready to go. You can pick it up in our store anytime. And have fun.
Thank you so much. You're a lifesaver. Well, I'll be right there.